Let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, let's jump in there.
I really want to kick... so guys, if you haven't seen this, go see the film or just have a listen in because, hey, it's going to get interesting. Really, I want to talk about that Act 2. And there's a theme that comes through in this film that I really don't understand why they had it in here. I can't figure it out. The theme of them trying to what's her name? Sarah Paulson's character trying to convince these individuals that they're not superheroes. And this really went on and on
Way
and
too
on
long.
and on.
It's like, are they trying to convince the audience as well? Because they
were.
really
He
present
was.
it. Yeah,
He was.
a very strong case for them not being super.
And there's a thing where I've seen 2 films with so much evidence to the contrary of what this theme is trying to push and shove in my face. And there was a point where I was like, wow, he's actually like he's actually wasting so much time in this movie. Like, you've lost me. Like, you had me at the beginning and you've lost me, M.
So
Night.
when she went through the kind of the reasons as to why that wasn't or that could have been fake or that they weren't real superheroes, did you not find that at all convincing?
So the theme, her rationale was that she wanted to convince them that they weren't, so they could integrate back into society, so they didn't have to kill them.
It wasn't so much as to why she was doing it, but like the reasons that she gave to the characters for why they
you believe
have
her?
Superpowers.
At no stage did I believe her.
Yeah, same. I thought,
I was almost laughing at it. I was almost like, why are you still going on? There was a point in the pink room where she's like, oh, you had these, she's speaking to James McAvoy's character and she's going, there was rock climbing videos on your computer, don't you remember? And he's like, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Let's move on.
To be honest, I think that there is a little bit of legitimacy into that. I think that, the ability for people, like just from a standpoint of someone kind of falling into this delusion that they are special. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, if you allow yourself to be carried away by that, and it
potentially could have been if the movie went in that direction, which it didn't. Which makes the whole thing a waste. And especially with David Dunn, I was sitting there like, okay, they've set him up in this room where they're going to flood him if he gets out of hand.
And they never show that.
Which is like the one line is like, you believe you're weak against water, so we're going to flood you with water. It's like, no, just David, ask them to give you a 500-pound barbell and show them you can lift it. David, why aren't you doing anything?
Yeah,
you're just being incarcerated. You know you're a superhero. You've been one for 20 years.
And that's what I mean by that it's contrived.
Yeah.
There's so much about this film that you're like...
Characters have to just do nothing for it to happen.
There'd be such an easy solution to this. I don't understand why this is happening. That's the part of this film that I thought was... lacking.
And that's the part that goes on for 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once you kind of just accept that that's the way that it is, then, I mean, like I said, it was just kind of one of those things where, like, just get over it and kind of let the film carry you away. And, I was kind of cool with just letting it do that.
I found it
know why.
laborious. I think it was a massive scripting issue. I think they could have also trimmed a lot of stuff in the edit bay.
And I don't think it was worth it for the eventual
reveal.
Just the idea of the film, which is like everyone's special if they believe, which I kind of liked.
Was that what you got out of it?
Well, just the whole thing with them trying to suppress humanity, because if people know how good we can be, then I don't know, something bad.
Well, I think it was more that there are certain individuals that can exceed that, and that we as a society suppress.
That is a theme in general. Yes, I don't think having to sit through an hour of that was worth that reveal.
No. And to be honest, a lot of people and a lot of reviews, as I said before, I listened to a lot of reviews, a lot of people really didn't like the ending, that they killed the characters and this whole reveal with the sort of fucking, who's the bad guys in Captain America? The first
Shield or Hydra.
Hail Hydra. It's Hydra basically.
Okay, so if anyone hasn't seen it, let's describe the ending of this movie. The whole movie, they've been setting up a conflict at the opening of this skyscraper where the whole world is going to see, the Horde face off against the Overseer, David Dunn. And it ends up just there on the front lawn of the building. They have a fight there, and then Glass, David Dunn. Glass reveals some shit, and then Glass, David Dunn, and what's his face, Kevin, get killed by some organization with a 3-leaf clover tattoo.
Posing as SWAT.
who have meetings in restaurants.
Oh god, and they work with Sarah Paulson's character. She's one of them. David Dunn gets drowned in 3 inches of water.
A very bizarre way for him to go on that. Like that scene kind of confused the shit.
But Glass secretly wins because he sends the footage of all of them being actually super to the relatives and friends of these characters who reveal it to the world.
I don't think anything in this movie that included was particularly impactful. Certainly not as much as I think that M. Night Shyamalan would have hoped or tried to make it out to be, but I mean it certainly wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like I can't imagine anyone having any kind of strong feeling to anything in this film
one way or another.
one way or another, exactly. I mean and so nothing about this film is particularly egregious to me, as I said before. I mean the kind of 4-leaf clover, it's an M. Night Shyamalan film. I'm just gonna like
3-leaf clover.
3-leaf clover, whatever.
That's the whole point. They're not special.
Okay, yeah, fair. I mean it's just such a it's just like it's M. Night Shyamalan. He's always chasing that original high. Nothing kind of leapt out to me to get angry at this.
But there's another point that you missed that I thought was really cool, which was how Kevin Wendell Crumb's dad was on the train in Unbreakable.
Glass derailed.
I liked that.
Yeah,
I liked how that came together.
And that was actually hinted at in Split, which is really cool.
Was it?
Totally, yeah. He says his father left on a train and never came back.
Oh,
and he
of
leaves some
course.
flowers at the train station in that film, which is the one thing in that film, not the post-credit sequence, which could easily be tacked on, the one thing in that film that actually does stitch these together in some way.
Sure.
Yeah, I really liked that reveal. I was expecting that reveal, and I liked
that for me was where I was happy that I knew Unbreakable. That moment for me was like, I like this ending. I'm in.
But I mean, to be honest, they say throughout the film that he got in an accident on a train, so I don't know how much more seeing Unbreakable kind of adds to that. It's hard to say,
for me, just seeing the footage again and
And
knowing those sequencing.
That was so well done.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
The old
Can
footage,
we talk about the 2 deleted scenes as well that they had earlier
they
in the
used
film?
deleted scenes from Unbreakable from 20 years ago
So
in this
cool.
film. They were not the most thematically relevant scenes, but given how they had to do it,
I
it
thought
was
it
very
worked.
cool.
I
It
thought
was
it
very
worked.
cool. Yeah.
I thought particularly Glass's
The
scene when he
de-aging
was
on
a
Bruce
kid.
Willis was amazing.
The scene of Glass with the 2 toys on the fairground, like that was a
man, that was
great
really
scene.
disturbing.
Really great scene.
I nearly cried during that scene because it was really scaring me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it was really,
'cause
I
you
was
knew it was
so
gonna happen.
Really well
uncomfortable.
directed.
come on,
really
no.
well directed. So these are the moments that I loved in this film. But let's just keep deconstructing that ending with the fight scene.
Well, because we just talked about like that specific scene that you just said about the reveal. It was like, that's when Jackson was in the heat of being like, it's a comic book movie. Do you get it?
It's the showdown, and the mother's like, I've seen this before in the comic books I used to buy him. It's where all the heroes come together and the villains. It's like, what are you describing?
And then
This
he's
is
like,
the
this
most
is a limited edition. It's not a
mundane
limited
stuff.
edition. It's
an origin story. And see, that's where I thought the ending was going to go in a different direction. That's when I thought David Dunn's son was going to
Same.
be something interesting,
Oh,
other
okay.
than the nothing he was in the movie.
Right.
Because
So-
I really thought bringing him back, he was going to play a big part in this film.
And that's kind of one of the things I didn't quite understand, because they kept building up these,
Side characters.
side
Yeah.
characters specific to each one, which again was pretty contrived. Or particularly, what's her name?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Hers was bizarrely contrived. I don't know why she's felt some kind of affection towards him.
After 3 weeks as well.
After 3 weeks.
3
and, like,
weeks?
That,
Yeah.
the
After
reaction
seeing a friend,
from-
well, not friends, but get eaten.
Yeah, and the whole idea of like Kevin, somehow or not even just recognizing her, but the relationship that they seem to have. Like, if I was Kevin and I woke up and I saw her, I'd be like, I fucking told you to shoot me. What the hell happened?
Why am I still here?
Yeah, it's like, I gave you very simple instructions. I showed you where the shotgun was.
One job.
But he was just like, I'm so glad to see you. I'm like, why? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, this could have been like, I did shoot you, actually, twice.
Yeah. You'll notice
You're
here and
a
here.
supervillain. Sorry.
I found her involvement pretty contrived. I felt like there should have been more with the son. I felt like they kind of hinted at things that could have been really cool. I felt like this entire film was just like one less beat over the head with a really obvious, I don't know what you'd call it, theme, I suppose, away from being a very cool and subtle and interesting film.
On that note, I got to bring this up before I forget. Both of those characters in the comic book store. First, it has Anya Taylor-Joy like going to the counter and being like, "What was the first superhero?"
Yeah.
Just so a character can be like, "This is the origin of Superman." It was like so much worse than any of the two already over the top stuff in Unbreakable. And then it's got like Spencer Treat Clark just looking like a fucking 8-year-old, just like walking out of the comic book store. He's like, "All right, I'm leaving." Then he looks at the big villains. Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
the villains. Now I know everything that's happening.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I didn't hate all that stuff, but I was bewildered.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on
I just
right
thought it
now?
was a couple of steps too far from what they did in Unbreakable, which was more of a pared back, like these are just super exaggerated representations
Yes.
of something that doesn't exist within
But
in the
human
moment,
history.
in the moment, you go, is M. Night setting something really dope up here? Like, is he real? Is he going
Yeah,
to
you're trying to figure out
And so you're
how-
always like, that's why I say bewildered. I didn't hate it. I'm always like, is he going to bring it back? Like, is he going to be
What's
able to
he
do it?
gonna do? Yeah.
And then by the end, I'm like, fuck you, man. You really. They're
Right.
like,
I did
what
not have
happened
that
there?
kind of
Well,
reaction.
they
I think
return
that's
right
way too
to it at
far.
the end with Sarah Paulson in the comic book store. I don't remember
Yeah.
why she's there, but then there's the nerds talking about,
scream.
"No, man, the mastermind villain.
I'd like
You
that.
think you win, but then he wins."
I did like that. I thought that was
Oh,
the
man.
one kind of extra little moment of that. I like because when he says it, I kind of had a chuckle to myself. I was like, all right, here's the M. Night Shyamalan twist. Like,
The
this is-
twist.
Twist on the twist.
Yeah.
What
And-
about the scream?
Oh yeah, that
was
too.
terrible.
That was one of
That
those
was
moments I was
terrible.
talking about where I was just sitting there like looking around like, "Is anyone?"
we wrap-
it's not again. It's not that bad.
Can we
Like,
wrap
I
this
think
up?
that you're. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
It just came across. It just seemed off in a way.
Do you feel like I feel like both of you were too heavily invested in this film.
Not at all.
But that's why I find it so bizarre how much you hate, for example, the screaming scene. Like none of this was particularly, as I've
I'm
said
not
before,
angry at this movie. I just think a lot
egregious
of it was really
or,
bad.
Yeah, it's just.
or
I
even really
think the
terrible.
dichotomy of this film is what makes me. I'm not. I don't think M. Night has I don't think a studio system has come in and said, we got
Totally
to
not.
change this. This is M. Night's
This
film.
is all him.
This
yeah.
is M. Night's film, and that's how much of a mixed bag this guy is. It's kind of insane.
It's pretty emblematic of his entire career.
Yeah,
in
it is.
its highs and lows, and that's the disappointing thing about it is that against all odds, he actually got to make in some way his Unbreakable trilogy that he was talking about, 19 years ago. And it's not in the form anyone expected or necessarily wanted. But we're, like you said, George, you root for the guy. You want this to fucking work out, and it hasn't, and it's been borne out by the reviews. Like no one's really loving this, which is a shame.
He's such a hit and miss guy, and I feel like he's his own worst enemy. Where when he gets too much in his head and he starts thinking about doing something too complicated or too twisty and all that kind of stuff, I think that's where he fails. I mean, you look at Split. Split is a relatively straightforward film. It's well executed. There's nothing that's he's not trying to go for a big reveal apart from the fact that it's part of the Unbreakable universe.
and
But apart from
thematically
that-
for him, it was subtle.
subtle, exactly, which
For
makes
him.
it so good. I think that when he lets himself just kind of make a film and not think about it too much, he's really good at what he does. But when he tries to chase that, I feel like he's a heroin addict. Like he's just had that first taste of M. Night's a fucking genius. He's made this movie and you won't believe the twist.
it
And
all
oh my
folds
god,
in on itself.
Yeah.
I think the
And
biggest
he's-
example of that, which I really love, is how he on screen feels the need to connect his cameo from Unbreakable
Yeah.
and
You know
from
what?
Split.
You know what?
Yeah.
I actually love that.
I love because
No,
that's
fuck,
so
I didn't
him.
like
I actually
That's
loved
so
that,
him,
bro.
yeah. But it was the just the first indication. I was like, oh man, Shyamalan's retreated a little too
Yeah.
far up his ass for this one, hasn't he? Because he literally finds a way to take the cameo, the drug dealer he played in Unbreakable, and the security guy he played in Split, and on screen explicitly reference that they
Yeah.
are the same dude.
yeah.
You know what? I fucking love that bit. Whenever
I was
just get
into it.
because
Yeah.
I get this little grin on my face whenever he turns up for his
Yeah,
cameo,
totally.
and the fact that he goes to Bruce Willis like, "Don't I remember you?" And it's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we bumped into the stadium one time 19 years ago."
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck remembers that anonymous
I
security
remember you
guard?
because you really look like Bruce Willis.
But you know what? Fuck, I loved it. But can we just keep going through the ending in
there's
terms of
plenty.
how did you guys feel when they were like, boom, they're all dead?
I
I was surprised. So twist effective, I guess. Because like I said, I really
Good surprise or bad
no,
surprise?
no,
I was kind of
really.
meh surprised.
Yeah,
Like, once
neutral
again,
surprise.
Nothing about this really kind of shocked me. I liked the last moments of Kevin. I thought that was
Yes.
probably the most meaningful and most effective part of this entire film is when he is dying, or even just before he is dying. I loved the plot and the narrative of Taylor Joy, whatever her name is. Trying to get through to Kevin and to really take the light, and that whole kind of narrative and plot and theme that I really enjoyed, and I thought that was a beautiful ending to that.
Just quickly on the note, sorry, I really liked the thread of the Horde changing alliances
Legion,
from the last film.
yeah.
Like the way they were kind of shifting, and we're getting to know more of them. And what's his name? One of the main ones from Split.
Dennis
He
goes
switched,
back.
He switched on to like the good thing.
Yeah.
I like that. Anyway, carry on.
No, that's pretty much all I was saying. Like that, I thought that and like him dying was really effective.
Yes.
Really enjoyed it. A bit weirded out by the fact that David Dunn died, or the way he died.
I didn't mind. Listen,
That was like he
and then
gave up.
if that
Yeah.
had been better executed, there's something poetic in like a Superman dying in a puddle. There's an interesting concept there. It just was not executed
Yeah,
well.
I hated that he took the time to talk, like, or she took the time to talk.
Yeah.
to him. Fucking weird. Whatever.
yeah.
And Glass dying, I thought was pretty cool. I never really understood the character of the mum there. Like that whole thing didn't really make an awful lot of sense to me. Maybe that's from something from Unbreakable that I missed out on. And then her makeup, like, I don't know, was it prosthetics on her or something? Like, it was fucking weird. Like that distracted the shit out of me. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of meh.
I was number one. I noticed how little emotion I had. I really
Yes.
love. I should with all we're talking about James McAvoy. What a performance! Amazing. I should feel something when the character
Unbreakable.
died.
Did
I
you
was
not
just like,
feel anything? Because that was
out
the
of the
most
three,
emotional.
out of the three, that was the most emotional. But I think I should have felt more because
Well, it's hard,
it
'cause he's the bad
breezed
guy.
through. It breezed through. Well, is he the
And
bad guy?
he-
He's
well,
got
yes,
enough.
Yes.
He's the quote unquote bad guy,
But Kevin is a very tragic character. He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is why I think you do feel
Only
emotion,
like
but I think
8
it's
of them
hard.
are bad guys.
I think it's hard to watch
But I
someone
should have
who's
bought
been
into it more, and I should have felt something more there. And it kind of just brushed straight off, and you were into the next
But
one.
David
if
Dunn
you think
in
that was
particular-
successful, yeah, David
You're
Dunn.
watching him die. You're like, for me, it was just like, well, fuck, they've killed his wife off screen. His son's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Why?
And
Yeah,
I mean,
just
to
die,
be honest,
David.
off
Just
what
die.
you said,
He's a
Connor,
guy that was in a film 20 years ago. Fucking whoopty.
And going off what you said, Connor, like the bit where Sarah Paulson's talking to him, like, Jesus
Did you
Christ.
believe?
Weird moment.
Terrible. Glass was okay,
Glass dying was, again, I thought that was a solid performance from Jackson. Nothing wrong with that.
But then we go into this whole sort of bit with the Clover and the restaurant.
And right off the bat, it's impossible to take serious when they just wait for one person to leave, and then they're all just sitting there like, next time we should hire a room. Like, well, they're all just. How long have they all been sitting there waiting for everyone to clear out?
Immediately when the sniper rifle had the Clover, I was like, okay, something's happening now.
I was thinking, which other M. Night Shyamalan film is he trying to tie it
the first
into?
thing I thought as well.
Yeah.
I was like,
Is this-
is he bringing in like a third kind of story?
is Will Smith gonna show up?
Bitch.
They just go over a hill and they realize
Yeah.
they're in medieval times.
Yeah.
Or
And
something.
every one of his movies from now on just teases the next big team up of everything.
Well, how did you guys feel about that? Because I
Again-
didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Bit contrived, whatever. Like I said, I liked the little reveal with Glass's mastermind at the end. It kind of felt, it wasn't as impactful as I think that M. Night Shyamalan would have kind of intended it to be, but it was one of those kind of like, you're waiting for it and it happened and you're like,
Yeah, when you get to the
there
end
it is.
and the entire thrust of the film reveals itself to be, there's a secret society that's trying to suppress humanity or superhumanity. I
Bring balance.
like the place, bring balance to the force. Yeah, I like the place it ends, and I hate the way it got there. Like, I feel like we didn't need 2 hours to get to that, and certainly not the 2 hours we got. I think there was just a more eloquent way to make that point.
And what
and
about
again,
the plot
it's M. Night
mechanics?
Shyamalan. Of course there's a more
Can we
elegant
just
way to do
quickly
it.
deconstruct the plot mechanics of what she was trying to do with them in the facility? So she was trying to convince them that they weren't
Yeah.
superheroes and then erase
Okay.
their brains.
No,
with
I think it
whatever
was-
that thing.
No,
in 3
number
days.
one-
If
no,
she
no.
didn't convince them within 3 days, then they were going to get zapped.
Yeah.
One, convince them that they're not special. If that fails,
Which is
then
really dumb
zap
'cause
them.
they are.
And then option number 3 is
Kill them. Yeah.
which I mean, fine.
But
fuck
wait,
it,
well,
whatever.
like the thing is like convince them. Like, what does that? What? Where, how
Again,
do
like,
we?
no. But all right,
How
so
does
there-
that? What does that
there
materialize
is
into?
something I suppose legitimate. Like, I mean, genuine psychosis and genuinely people that are in delusions, they believe that they can either do things or hear things. I mean, there's a really interesting little factoid, which is that the voices that people who have sorry, they're not delusions. Delusions are something different.
Schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia is the disorder. People that hear voices. Sorry, there's a technical term for it that I can't remember. The voice that they hear triggers the same part of the brain and the same activation in the brain as the part of the brain that's activated when you talk to me. So for all intensive purposes, when someone hears a voice that is not in the room,
What did you just
it
say?
is real.
I
So
got it.
so you know.
That's
there's
cool,
a
though.
whole-
That's great.
There's a whole question
I
of
love it.
reality
I love
and
it.
psychosis and you know, all that kind of stuff, and delusion and really believing something. So I think that there is complete legitimacy in the idea of someone coming in and taking your reality and saying this isn't real, particularly for someone that believes that they're a superhero. Because if you were a superhero and you could do, you know, great things, or you believed you could do great things, you would have to ask yourself, am I truly special? Or is it far more likely that my brain is broken and I believe that I can do these
A
things?
lot of other characters have seen them do these things, though. Is the
But
problem?
I mean, like
The problem
people
is-
that are
but-
deluded
okay.
make up people seeing things. They make justifications. There's always a reason why this is real and why everyone else is wrong.
The
So that's my
fundamental
point.
problem with what you're saying, and it's really cool, all of that. The fundamental problem is that one is a delusion, and in this film, we've seen 2 movies where they're not delusions. And
Well,
Unbreakable,
But not
Unbreakable
even a
even
hint- not
deals
even a
with
hint of them.
Unbreakable actually deals with him going like, am I a superhero? Like, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And we've already explored a lot of that. And to retread that in this in such an unsuccessful way is
Is it
the
that
weakness of this film.
am I a superhero, or is it am I gifted? Because in this it's just, are you gifted at all? Like, do you have the powers that you think you have? Is that what he's dealing with in Unbreakable, or is he dealing with more the kind of you know, the mantle of being a superhero? Do I go out and protect people?
No,
as
he-
Saying
opposed
he's
to
like, am I gifted?
Am I gifted? He's
Okay.
like, have
Do
I
I
ever?
have
He goes to
powers?
his wife at the beginning of the film. He's like, have I ever been sick? Have I ever taken a sick day? You know, we've already explored a lot of this, and that's where
Like we spent,
the downfall.
yeah,
of
we
that.
spent a 2-hour movie
Yeah.
convincing us, the audience and the characters in the film, that he is super, without a hint by the end that he's not. And I think Split went the same way. So it just felt like a waste of time in this one.
Imagine if M. Night had maybe even done something like, well, they weren't superheroes and they were delusional.
If they actually went that way,
Fuck,
then
fuck,
it
I
would have
been
worked.
Crazy cool.
Yeah.
Crazy cool.
But then no, by the end, it's just like, nah, just kidding.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
super.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
I don't think either way he could have gone with that it would have been satisfactory to everyone. I think, you know, he just kind of like, you
But
flip
more
a coin.
interesting, I think, one. Maybe unsuccessful, but more interesting. And then the final part of this is them in the train station. Everything's gone viral. And then we get the sweeping pan shot, tracking out, and everyone's checking their smartphones and everything. You know,
And
we're
watching
spreading the
some
good
very
word.
mundane footage
Yeah.
and being like, oh my God.
That was one thing that did occur to me. It's like, in a day and age where, you know, Photoshop and all that, like, no one would look twice at that and be like, oh my God, it's
I was
real.
watching
Like,
a video the other night on YouTube where a guy rams his motorcycle full speed in the back of a car, flips onto it, lands on his feet, and he's just like, like, and I
Holy
was like,
shit.
that is so much more impressive than Bruce Willis bending a fucking
bending
stick.
some steel. Yeah. No, that, I
And
mean, I
shoving
totally,
a van and it like moves a meter.
I totally agree. But I mean, it's, again, it was just nothing, like, it was just like, whatever. It's just, it's.
Yeah.
It is whatever, but it
Yeah.
shouldn't be whatever.
Yeah.
It's the climax
Yeah.
of the film. It's like, you shouldn't be like, eh.
Do you consider Unbreakable to be a masterpiece?
I
flawed, very good film.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, like, I think the same of Split. I mean, I'm not.
So you think it's a very good film?
Split?
Oh, sorry, no, this one.
Oh, no.
No.
It's just, but it's not a terrible film. It's just kind of a film.
I would love to hear your opinion on Unbreakable.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably worth me watching it now.
Definitely.
That we finish this.
But I think you've really got to go in with a lot of expectations that it's going to be slow. It's very character driven. So don't expect anything.
I don't want you making excuses for it before I watch it.
No, but I know what type of films you like, and I know that if like those things, it can put you off.
I'm fine with with slow pacing, I think it's always a gamble on the with a film to go slow pacing because you need to make sure all the other things have to fit perfectly. So if it is slow, I'm going to expect like really high things from everything else in the film.
Any final thoughts, guys? Any final little tidbits you want to get in?
I love the score from Split, and they brought that back in this one.
Yeah.
I think the score in Split is
Where was the
fantastic.
Unbreakable theme?
That,
Yeah, they didn't bring that at all.
What the fuck?
that low rumble
There was,
that
maybe
they
there was
have.
like a couple.
There was a
of-
couple
Yeah,
Really cool, really
Yeah.
cool.
James Newton Howard.
Yeah,
He works
that
very well
split,
with
sort of
Shyamalan.
discordance violin.
Yeah, I mean, this film's fine. Like, I think that it's dumb, contrived, but also forgivable. Jackson's "This is a comic book," and him like almost laughing to himself how perfectly this pans out. Which fuck it.
Oh, can I ask you guys one last thing? Did you think they were
One
going to
last
have
thing.
the battle on the tower?
I did, but that worried me.
Did that? Were you like disappointed that they didn't do it?
No, I was actually quite glad that they didn't do it.
Cool.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed. I thought, the movie said it was leading that way. I thought it would, but given how I thought pretty bad the fight was at the beginning between the Beast and David Dunn, I was pretty happy that didn't
I
happen.
didn't
as
hate
well.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
hate
neither
the
did I.
POV
I-
shot.
I-
I didn't hate it. I just thought it was really like a couple of guys throwing each other around a bit. Like, this is not the confrontation. At the end of Split, I was like, oh man, I can't wait for them to meet up. I'm like, okay.
But then you quickly go back to Unbreakable, and it's like he only basically chokes somebody out in that.
But I think
movie,
that's pretty
so-
bad as well.
Yeah, well, it is.
So yeah,
No,
and I thought,
no. I actually, I said no. I retract my statement there. Sorry, I
Okay.
disagree with you.
Okay. I think the Beast at the end where he's just standing in the courtyard yelling a lot. I'm like, this is not.
Yeah, that
this
was
is
a
not
bit
really.
awkward. But
He's like, I'm like, this is like the Split.
Rawr.
And this is going more to a criticism of Split, but the Beast that they built up in that film was not really the character you get at the end. I think like they build him up a lot, and I think it works, but he's still just a guy, and
Yeah.
he's a little ripped, and he has some CGI veins on him. And in this one, it was even more.
I think it was more the
he was like,
animalistic.
he's still a
like
guy.
he's still just a character within this body. So I think that was the whole point.
I think
He's
in
not
this
meant
this
to, like,
movie,
grow fangs and
that's the thing. I think in this movie, when it really gets to its reveal that these people are powered, like they could have gone a little further with him. Like he could have gotten a little more like hulked out a bit. And I really think the son, anything could have happened with him. Anything, or David Dunn just should have shown like they should have all pushed themselves a little further. Because I think that was
agree.
the thing in Unbreakable is the way he keeps pushing himself and he can't find a limit.
Packing weights, putting the paint cans on the weights.
I think just the theme of pushing yourself further in this movie, they could have really done it. And there's this one line I really want to mention because I don't want to forget it, is when like I think they handle his water weakness so poorly in that they talk about in this, like a fire hydrant goes off and he starts like choking next to it, like because he can't even handle like being near water.
Well, there we have it, guys. That's our spoiler review for Glass. We'll be back next week for some more movie antics with the boys Connor
Bye.
and Benny.
Goodbye.
Bye.